And back to our coverage of issues ahead, COP30 in Brazil. I'm joined by TVC News assignment editor Asuko James. Well, Asuko, thanks for joining us. There are now conversations ahead the COP30 in Brazil, even right there in New York where you are, over 40 leaders making pledges. What does this say to us about the global mood ahead the gathering in Brazil?
Actually, Nifemi, I'm not in Brazil, I'm in New York, where they have the United Nations General Assembly. And part of the discussions was about climate change. And you remember yesterday, President Trump was very, very blunt about the issue about climate change. But afterwards, world leaders actually met, and then they decided to take action concerning the climate change issue, which the host president actually criticized in clear terms. One of the things that were discussed was about the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement, which was for countries to begin to put action into words. And one of the presidents who actually, took that action and took the gauntlet was the president of Brazil, President Lula da Silva. He was very, very emphatic, and he said, those who are denying the issue about climate change are just trying to take the world for granted. And so he decided that it is time for him and other world leaders to put, these things into action. And about 40 countries, about 40 leaders actually, came up with their own solution. And Nigeria was part of it. Nigeria now has a new climate change law, and which you can call it law, or you call it a national determined contribution, which will be headed and spearheaded by the National Council on Climate Change, which the Vice President actually read out yesterday. So far, and even the world's largest emitter of gas emission, which is China, actually made commitments yesterday to reduce climate change, particularly to the peak, which is about from 7 to 10%. Levels. That is what Xi Jinping actually promised yesterday. And today, the conversation continued, and so many countries actually signed in for that particular agreement. Don't forget, in November, there will be COP30 in Brazil, and President da Silva promised that it is time for people and for the leaders. They want to really see those leaders who are really keen on the climate change matter. And it's going to be a very interesting time in Brazil, because right now the ozone layer is depleted. Even though people have been criticizing, based on what Trump actually said yesterday, people have been criticizing it, but for now, the world leaders are actually insisting that we must take the issue about climate change very seriously, because the more we wait, the more problems will face us.
Indeed, Asuko, I hope you can hear me clearly. I know you are not in Brazil. I was making reference to the commitment being made ahead of the 2025 UN Climate Change Conference. As you have said, COP30 that will be holding in November in Brazil. We've seen climate pledges before this time that did not translate into action. From what you've observed in New York, how are leaders planning to make sure these new goals actually turn into results before that event in Brazil?
Well, so based from what leaders actually said yesterday, they actually made commitment. About 40 of the leaders came up with different positions on how they are going to make it possible. Like that of Nigeria, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, reeled out a lot of things, including having social equity, meaning that even local communities will benefit in terms of trying to make climate change profitable in local communities. Likewise, Xi Jinping made his own commitments to reduce gas emission, and one of them is also to improve in solar-powered panels, across China. And don't forget, don't wait for this. He's also planning that in the next couple of years, if not 2, China will be riding only on energy-powered vehicles, which is EVs, which we all know. So it will not be about gasoline anymore, but they are thinking about reducing, gas emission completely in China. So Brazil also has also promised that they are going to reduce it. They are looking at so many other things. So many other countries came up with what they are currently doing and the laws that they are put in place to reduce climate change. And so as we move on into COP30, we'll begin to see those things, those laws being put in place, actionable. I mean, actionable, things, actionable laws that the leaders will be taking back and then begin to do it one after the other. Well, I think so far, so good. The meeting was profitable. The meeting was very, very good for most of the leaders. They went out, all excited. And then, just like President Da Silva actually said, it's time for you to go back home and make it work. Absolutely.
Well, hopefully the world will walk the talk this time, especially hearing the defiant position of the U.S. president about the use of fossil fuel. That's our time. Asuko James live for us in New York.